Hi everyone, this is Kirk, and I just want to invite you into yet another conversation, whether you're a part of our queer men's community called Flesh and Spirit, or whether you're a follower of Kirk and Donnie on The Missing Thread. Our work is really embodied around the core spirituality, the core psychology, the core body wisdom of being a survivor and a thriver. So this month in our men's community, but all of you who are listening, we invite you to kind of play with this theme with us. But we're looking at being survivors and thrivers. I am totally inspired by the courage of the human spirit and the courage of men and women who have defied the odds repeatedly in facing challenges, life-threatening situations, and come out on the other side, or come to peace, or come to more wholeness. And that's, to me, what it means to be a survivor and thriver, is to really, in our community, we call it the archetype of the peaceful warrior. But to be willing to face your fears, to be willing to know yourself, and to take what's presented to you on the path and begin to not only look at it without fear, but to transform it into the opportunity of more healing, more wholeness that you've been called to deliver. In our men's community, we're going to have a potluck August 18th, and we invite any queer men who are in the Bay Area to join us for that. And the conversation will be about how are you a survivor and a thriver. So surviving means you got through it. Thriving means that you actually now have transformed and understood some of the ways that you got through it, so it takes you into healing, into more of your purpose and your service. Many of you know my story of being a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and how I've been able now to become out of that a sexual healer, to help people who have been wounded by any kind of abuse or threat, to transform that, to clear the baggage that they're carrying around, and to really be free to heal not only themselves, but offer their gifts of healing from the situations they've been in. There's a man in our Flesh and Spirit community, I'm hoping he will be among us for this potluck, but who literally lived on the streets. So talk about a survivor and a thriver, and now lives out of his addiction and out of living on the streets, and is surviving and thriving and inspires so many people just by his very life and his story. I think of all the transgender men who have ever come into Flesh and Spirit, and the courage that it took for them to really step into their congruence and say how I feel inside and how my body is not in direct correlation with that. And I want to live more embodied as the man, the woman, the gender that I identify with. How powerful a message if all of us could come into that level of congruence. We would survive, thrive, and change the world in an instant if we could be inspired by the wisdom of many of our transgendered brothers and sisters. So how are you a survivor and thriver? Donnie and I both have been on this wealth creation path, but part of the reason why we can know that at any given point there's always enough is because both of us have hit rock bottom and really known what it's been like not to have any money, and also out of those spaces to be able to create massive amounts of wealth at times. So Donnie's going to probably tell some of his stories about transforming out of having nothing into the hope and in the manifestation of having something. That's a thriver. That's the person who sees, like Viktor Frankl in the concentration camp, saw himself as teaching students of surviving the concentration camps and teaching them the psychology of doing that. That's a real thriver. That's someone who's actually lived through the experience but transformed and taken the knowledge of that experience now to make it into a message, a purpose, a gift that gets expressed. How are you a survivor? And how, more importantly, have you learned from that to be a thriver? And that's going to be the conversation for this month of August in our community, both in our men's community and much of what we do in the work of Flesh and the Missing Thread as well. So join us in kind of musing, and this is just video one of many videos that we're going to be doing about surviving and thriving. May you survive and may you thrive. Namaste.